Oh, don't mind me. I'm just texting rudely.
Well, welcome back to another edition of Limited Skills. I'm James.
I'm Brandon.
And this is the second time we've recorded this today.
Yeah.
Well, I guess this is technically the first time we recorded this today.
That's technically correct.
This will be the second time we will have talked about this today.
As we just spent the last half an hour talking to a muted microphone.
Oh, I'm going to own this one. I bought a fancy new piece of equipment, but I didn't turn it on. So
it's... well, as I mentioned, it's not really a rookie mistake because I've read so many examples of this actually being a professional level mistake also. So you're still a professional, James.
Nice. Well, all right, we're gonna turn this on and we're gonna watch Brandon.
Oh wait, I want to tell the YouTube story again. This is great. I get to revisit all these wonderful moments. Okay, so we hit 100 YouTube subscribers, which you guys don't care about, and that's fine. But we got an email that was like, wow, congratulations on passing 100 subscribers on YouTube. But it just kind of cut off, and it said, wow, congratulations on passing. And I assumed it was somebody making fun of my bad draft picks. Okay, so right out the gate here, I'm real excited about this cat because I haven't gotten to play it yet. Also, it's a cat, and it's a pretty bomby limited rare.
It's Eternalized, a 4/4 double strike.
Yeah.
That'll kill you.
Also, if they don't play something to kill it or to get in the way, like a 1/1 double strike for 2 mana is fine.
Yeah. I mean, it does all the things a 2/2 would do, but now they're really afraid of your combat trick that they don't know you have yet.
So going into here, I don't know, there's a few okay things. Nothing really sticks out. Reason to Believe is maybe the best card in here, and I'm not committed to white, but I mean, I do think the cat is a better pick, so I don't necessarily want to go into 3 colors and 2 picks. But I've also already gotten to play Reason to Believe just a couple weeks ago, so I don't feel as inclined to just force it and start playing it. I take the fly, Gain Life. It's an angel, right? Or is it a bird?
It's a bird, actually.
It's a bird.
The art
with angel wings.
Looks like yeah, but it's a bird, not an angel.
Is there a bird angel?
Colin would know.
He would. He's the professional. So I take that because it's generically fine. For a 5-drop, you gain 3 life. And then immediately...
There's Puncturing Blow?
I like Puncturing Blow a lot, and it is probably the best pick in this pack. I've already taken 2 things in white, and I feel okay about the Aven. Maybe picking 2 right out the gate is a little silly and greedy, but I just go with that because I didn't see other incentives in the first 2 packs to go into red.
I feel like that's usually a card you see get passed around.
Yeah, you're probably right.
Well, now there's an Archer, which would have rewarded you for picking Puncturing Blow.
Yes, and I think the Archer is probably... Okay, if you're in red, if you're playing red at all, I think the Archer is the best pick in this pack. But if you're not in red, everything else in there, I think the Desert is the best pick. That wasn't just me taking the rare.
The Steadfast Sentinel's decent.
Is that the Vigilant?
Yeah, I think
one?
so.
It's all right, but I think those other 2 things outclass it by a bit.
All right.
The ability to exile graveyards is, especially repeatedly with all Embalm and Eternalize. Sorry guys, my lips are just giving out after 30 minutes of talking already.
It's not the only reason they're giving out.
Where were we?
So you take a black card. The last time we tried to record this, we talked about the difference between the rat with Death Touch and the removal creature.
Yeah, okay, I do like the rat a lot. Death Touch is cool because even if it's not killing things actively, it's holding back attackers, which is a similar effect, but a little different. I like the control that the Banewit Punisher gives you, because you can say, I want that dead now. If it's something that has an ability, not necessarily just a big thing, you can just get rid of it. The rat's cool because it can double up with Eternalize and Embalm creatures, because the trigger goes on the stack after their creature hits the graveyard. Okay. So you sort of 1.5 for 1 them.
Yeah.
So the rats are super valuable, but I do like the Banewit Punisher a little more.
And then we talked about the difference between the Bitterbow Sharpshooter and Overwhelm? Underwhelm?
Over something. Overcome?
Yeah,
that's Overcome. It. I got it right this time.
Nice.
Crazy. Okay, yeah. Without having taken any previous green picks, I think the Archers would have been better because they're only a single green. So it would have been easier to splash them in, do whatever wacky, stupid color crap I want to do. I think my thought process was the Archer's a common. They're more likely to table, or I'm more likely to get them. Overcome, I think, is going to get scooped up by the next player that's playing green.
Okay. You can take Doomfall because it's removal.
Yeah, it's perfectly good, and it proved to be good repeatedly. It's not that anybody needed to tell me it's good, but the fact that you get to choose between those two things, those are two really good things. Like, you usually specifically want one or the other.
Sure.
It's not often like a hard choice of,
Yeah.
oh no, I get to choose between this, and it's never a dead card. It's great.
Yeah, I love modal cards because options are awesome.
So
Sure.
yeah, Scavenger, I like this guy fine. 4 toughness is hard to kill, and I like anything with lifelink. Maybe because I'm a sucker? Who knows?
I mean, your lips are tired.
You keep getting me!
Consign would be a reason to splash blue.
Yeah, so Consign to, what is it, Consign to Madness? Consign to Darkness? That is a very powerful split card. I'll play it, I think, if I were just in blue, and then it probably worth splashing black for in that case. The Camel is pretty good, I like it, but I don't think I have a whole lot of deserts at this point, so I don't know its value level.
Let's talk about Reason again, because clearly nobody likes that card.
Yeah, I found that odd. So the first time I wanted to take it just because it was the rare, but if I were in blue, I would almost definitely play it and at least splash for green. I think the entire table sort of undervalued it. It's not, it's not always a game-winning bomb. You sort of need a game-winning bomb in your deck, and then it doubles up your chances of hitting it.
Yeah.
But I think it's generically fine.
Yeah, I think the ability to spend 1 mana to look at the top 3 cards of your deck and throw away things that you don't need. Like, you don't play that card turn 1. You play it like turn 5 or 6 when you're maybe casting a 2-drop and you have extra mana floating. That's when you cast that card.
Yeah, and a lot of times Scry 1 is related as drawing half a card.
Sure.
So Scry 3 is sort of like drawing 1.5 cards for 1 mana, and then getting some other value later, which is literally draw a card, but sometimes cast it for free too.
Mm-hmm. I would be happy playing that card. I would even... I can imagine the right commander deck even finding value out of a split card like that.
I absolutely think it's EDH worthy, for sure. If you want to play some broken combo stuff like Momir Vig, also that's exactly what he does, isn't it? Like, fix the top of your deck and cheat stuff in.
Yeah. All right, pack 2.
Anyway, so yeah, I've mostly got a pile of white creatures, and a couple black things, and a couple green things.
You got 4 or 5 drops at this point?
Yeah, I think that sounds right.
2 birds and 2 of the 3/4. Yep.
Yeah, and they all gain me life.
Ooh.
Yeah. Oh yeah, I'm always happy with God Pharaoh's Gift. Always play it. Always.
Everyone who tells you otherwise is wrong. Because we said so.
Yeah. We did talk about it a lot. And I could sort of be sold that maybe not every deck wants to play it, but I do think most aggressive decks and even most slower decks want to play it.
That hippo ran over me.
That hippo's
5/6.
great. It's amazing.
Yeah.
It's a really good common.
It's so hard to deal with a 5/6 in this set.
If I were feeling more in green, I would be real excited to just go in with that Resilient Kenra. I think that card is really sweet, but I only took like 1 or 2 green cards, and there's a pile of good black stuff in here that I know I'm gonna
absolutely.
play.
So you take
and I go
another
with maybe the most questionable one of them.
Especially since you already have 2. Taking the third one's a little weird.
Yeah. It was probably around this point that I turned over and looked to James and said, this is weird, and I think it's dumb.
Torment of Venom is good. I like Ruin Rat.
Yeah, multiple removal I'm excited for. Doomfall I'm also excited about. So
But
I got 3 removal already, and then a 4th removal in the form of a land. The other 3 I think are comparable. And depending on your curve in your deck, you can play any of them. I do think the If Near Dead lands outclasses them all by a substantial amount. It's very good removal that you can keep reusing if you get the deserts.
I have nothing to add to that. Except this is also very good removal.
Yeah, and then I followed up with more removal.
I asked you the last time we tried this if you would...
Yeah, are we recording right now?
I hope so. I double checked, but I didn't triple check, so maybe not.
All right.
Something about deserts. Would you draft an off-color desert? For example, a Desert of the Mindful.
I think usually not, but I would in some cases. And
you were like low on deserts?
Yeah, and I've got things to sacrifice deserts or things that check for deserts. No harm in playing a couple off-color deserts. I've currently drafted 2 colorless deserts. Granted, they both have abilities, and that's what makes them worth it. And I would definitely prefer playing any of the colorless deserts over an off-color desert. Honestly, I feel like the set gives you enough deserts that, unless you're really screwing it up, you're going to have access to at least 3 deserts, which I think is enough to play any desert referencing cards.
There's another You're like,
Yeah,
am
I
doing-
see it,
am
and I'm
I-
like, oh, this is stupid. Like, I'm an idiot, but I'm taking it anyway. Whatever. I think there was some good removal in there, too, but whatever. I got a stupid bird.
Or at least a combat trick.
So, yeah, now I've got, I think, 6 5-drop creatures.
Yep.
Which is usually too many for a limited deck. But they all gain me life, and that's why I'm weirdly excited about it. Also depressed about it, because I think I'm going to lose.
Traveler's Amulet could help fix you for the next pack.
Yeah, I feel real comfortable in black-white at this point, but who knows what bomb you're going to open in the third pack that you just want to force in your deck.
Right. Don't do it, Brandon.
This will be the 7th, so I don't take it. I don't need 7 5-drop creatures in my deck, so I take a desert. At this point, I can sort of count every desert I draft as removal, because if near dead lands, every desert is -2/-2.
Yep.
Which I forgot about for an extended period of time in a game.
Oh, really?
And I barely won that game, and afterwards my opponent was like, hey, you know you had that and could have won 10 turns ago.
That's the tricky thing about spell lands, is that you have to remember that you have them. I'm not even entirely sure why I keep putting them in commander decks, because I
just forget they exist.
I just tap them for mana.
Yeah, it's true of manlands, too.
Yep.
Same thing. People often play them and just forget. They're just coming to play tap single color lands. So now I've just piled on some more removal, which is pretty exciting. And I've got some cheaper creatures to hold off aggressive decks as well. At this point, I'm not feeling great about this deck, but I'm feeling better about it than half a pack ago.
Okay.
I was surprised by this at the end. If I were in red, yeah, I feel like red was fairly,
Underdrafted.
yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think I should have gone into red. I don't think there's enough to be like, oh, that should have been a different color I played.
Somebody should have.
Yeah, definitely.
Someone screwed up. It wasn't Brandon.
I've never screwed up in my
No.
life. Never.
You've seen his drafts, you know.
It's funny because
Oh, there's still a whole pack left.
I remember this pack and whoever the red drafter is, I'm just taking things from them now.
Oh, man, I thought we were almost done, and then... Oh, look, Electrify's good.
I think
Flame Blade... I don't know how to feel about Flame Blade Adept.
I think it's pretty good for a 1-drop. I don't usually like to play a whole lot of 1-drop creatures.
Sure.
I also think Soul Scar Mage is pretty good for a 1-drop. I think generically the Electrify is the best card in the pack, but I'm not playing red, so I don't care. Stir the Sands is the best pick for me because I need 4-drops to finish out my curve, but I'm a bad drafter, so I don't care. I want another Soul Scar Mage in my pocket, so I just pick that for no reason.
There was a conversation. He said he couldn't remember if he had one or not. I remember he does have one.
There's recorded proof that I have one somewhere. I could have 7 of them. I'm not playing them. Why do I care? But I picked it anyway.
Well, you at least likely have one in one of the prize support packs you never open.
That's Schrodinger's pack right there. You don't know that.
There's a bunch of good stuff in this pack, though.
I go for the removal because I just want to survive to get to those 5-drops to start gaining back all the ground I've lost by that point.
Why not the mummy, the miasma mummy?
I think it's generically good. 2 for 2/2, always fine, and then it does something, which is cool. I don't have any synergy in my deck for it. I don't have zombie tribal stuff or discard triggers. So it's just going to be 2 for a 2/2 that does a weird thing that could even benefit my opponent if they have discard triggers.
Oh, let's not talk about Vizier of Deferment, because we know how good that is. Let's talk about how good Foil Floodwaters is.
I did want that also. I do like foil. I like Floodwaters. The fact that it's foil doesn't matter. There was a Scattered Grove I passed there too. That hurt a little, but
Yeah.
the Vizier is one of those cards where picking that could make or break your deck because it can do so many things. It's always a good card to have, and sometimes the effect that it gives can be really blowout.
Sure. Yeah, you can bounce an Embalmed or Eternalized token.
So that's one of those cards that, no, I won't pick a 50-cent rare over.
But he'll think about it.
Now, I always like the trials. This deck, I don't think, was perfect for the white trial. I ended up citing it out a lot. I did get to do a couple things where I pumped 2 or 3 of my lifelink guys at the same time, and that was hilarious to me.
Oh, Ruthless Sniper, but you don't have a lot of cycling. So
Yeah, if I
probably not.
did, instead I pick a cycling card.
There you go.
No, Ruthless Sniper is another one drop that I'll play frequently. I count any Death Touch creature, particularly a cheap Death Touch creature, as removal. That's maybe not how you should view it, but it often is that.
It works the same way as like the white in combat removal spells.
It just has to be in combat, yeah.
Yeah.
That probably didn't even need to be said.
Blighted Bat over Impeccable Timing, speaking of white in combat spells.
Yeah. Was Impeccable Timing in that pack?
Yeah.
Huh. I probably was thinking I was getting too much removal at this point, which, following picks is even proving that. But also I knew I was light on 4-drops. Never mind that I passed that zombie cycling card earlier. That would have been perfect. But the Bat, even though it's 3 mana, the fact that you can give it haste for 1 mana, it fits in a mana curve at 3 or 4. So it's really flexible in that way.
Okay, I guess that makes sense.
So I like that Bat more than a lot of... sometimes I'll play 3 for a 2/1 flyer just because it's a flyer. But
You look at Bantu's Monument over Wasteland Scorpion.
I like the Monuments. I'm still trying to figure out the right deck for Bantu's Monument. I think it's a little weaker than some of the others.
What's his effect?
It drains a life when a creature comes into play.
Okay.
Makes your black creatures cheaper.
If you're making tokens. If you're making a lot of cheap tokens.
Okay, part of the reason I was thinking about it also is if I played it on 3, I could play one of my 3/4 lifelinkers on turn 4. So that was extra consideration for it that I think
Oh, yeah.
might make it more useful in this deck, but I also thought I only have 3 of those, and then my other 3/5 drops are white creatures.
Yeah.
And that was the reason I didn't.
Wander in Death?
I thought it would be funny to get my Avens back and gain more 3 life triggers. I also think that card's fine. I don't believe I ended up playing it, but I don't think it would have been a bad card in the deck.
You were also fondling Cradle of the Accursed.
Yeah, I was wondering if I need more deserts, and I was thinking about that. I like that card fine, but I already had 4 deserts at this point, and I didn't necessarily need more colorless sources.
Okay.
Now, that said, I had the If Near Deadlands, so probably too many deserts would have been fine.
Yeah. Forsake the worldly.
I always like having one of those from my pool at some point, just in case there's some mythic artifact or enchantment. Something that's going to ruin my game.
Like, for example, the one that you have in your deck.
Yeah. Yeah, if somebody plays that 7 mana Eternalize Everything Forever, absolutely, side that in.
Yep. Someone passed you this upside down pack. That was rude.
It's just a sign of...
That's actually a pet peeve that I have. Like, if I draw up my hand and half of them are upside down and half of them aren't, even if my sleeves are opaque, I gotta fix it. Because it bothers me. Like, it just... Oh, Brandon, it just bugs me.
I'm going to sneak into James's room and shuffle all of his EDH decks backwards.
Oh, God. Most of those sleeves are opaque.
Okay, so what I've got going here is way too many 5-drop creatures. And as I noted, they aren't even like balmy mythic rare 5-drops that I want to cram them all in. They're just a bunch of commons. So I've got 6 of them. They all gain me a little life, so that's where I feel a little better about playing them. Not that I want to force a bunch of life gain into decks.
But you do.
It keeps some survivability going there. And then I've got a pile of removal between 2 and 4 mana. I don't really know what to think about this deck, but then I started playing and it was the bomb diggity. It was so fun. And it was very consistent. And we had a discussion as well about what a terrible person I am, and how the most fun that I have playing Magic is when I'm sucking the fun away from my opponent. And it's usually not in a inevitable control-y lockdown way, not in like a keep all your permanents tapped and I'm going to do everything until I win by playing solitaire. But it's the, oh, you aggroed me down to 3 life and it seems like there's no way I can come back and win, and then I gain 3 life. And then you've got to kill my creature, but then I gain 3 more life, and you got to kill a creature, and then I've got a life linker, and you don't have removal for that one, so you're screwed. And then as you watch my life total slowly crawl back to 20, just the despair in somebody's face when they're like, oh, this is going to be over in 2 more swings, and then it's like, you're in the game for 7 more turns, and they're like, oh, I can't win anymore.
And I've been there. I've had that guy down to 3. And, oh, I'm going to win, and then he just gains 6 life, and I'm like, well, now I've lost the game.
Very frequently, like, that's our experience on the giving and receiving end of the Black Cartouche. Cartouche of Ambition, why we say it's so good. It it can make that happen. I didn't even have one of those, and I got to do this almost every game I played this night. I did lose 2 games due to keeping... Okay, I ended up running 18 lands because my mana curve was pretty top-heavy.
Yep.
Which a lot of people are like, no, never run 18 lands. I think it was maybe the right call in this deck. I think I waffled back and forth between 17 and 18 lands. But I did have 2 games where I kept 2 lands and thought, that's fine, I've got 16 more in my deck, this will be fine. And I just did not get to 5 mana. Any game I got to 5 mana, I won. It was maybe a little slow and maybe a little back and forth at times, but for the most part, when I started playing those Aven and those life linkers, I just took control.
How did you finish out the night?
I went 3-0. Yeah, I killed it. And like I said, the only 2 games I lost were to mana screw, to personal bad choices on hand keeping.
We also talked about, there was a group discussion actually, whether or not Gift of the God Pharaoh goes in every deck. Brandon and I both agree that it does. Would you like to tell them why?
Yeah, okay. Maybe not quite every deck, but enough of them that if you're not sure of it, put it in your deck.
Enough of them that the hyperbole is accurate.
Yeah. So if you're hyper aggressive, that's when most people will suggest not playing it, because 7 mana is expensive, and if you're wanting to just play a bunch of cheap creatures, holding a 7 mana spell might slow you down too much. I understand the thought behind it. But if you're going to aggro them down to 5 life and run out of steam, if you want one expensive bomb thing to finish it out, I think that's one of the best things you could ask for.
For sure.
Because if you're playing a bunch of cheap creatures, the reason you didn't win is probably because they're all in your graveyard. And then, if each of those keeps coming back with haste, but bigger, you're going to lock that game down.
Yep.
And then if you're playing a slower control deck, maybe you don't have that many creatures in your graveyard right away, but the effect for 7 mana, you're going to be comfortable getting for that.
Yeah, so you're going to get your walls back, you're going to get whatever stupid wizard had to block in the early game, and it was probably a stupid wizard, or you could make an Ancient Crab into a 4/4.
Oh, it's worse, because its toughness is lower.
Oh, do you have anything else you want to say about this?
This deck was super fun and super effective. So, yeah, it wasn't until the first match that I was pretty hesitant. I was like, I don't know how this is going to go. It was great. And I don't think specifically those 5-drop creatures are going to win you every game, but just that combination of a bunch of life gain on my creatures at the top end with a bunch of removal to keep me alive until then. It was probably just the removal, honestly. Draft a bunch of removal. That's always good.
Yeah, I think that's the key. You can't just you can't just take mono 5-drops. You have to be able to survive to turn 5 to cast them.
But getting some life gain back gave me a much bigger window to stabilize.
Mm-hmm. Cool. I'd say we'll see you next week, but that's a lie, because we are both going to Gen Con. We'll be there all 4 days. We'll be cosplaying something interesting on Friday. If you follow our Instagram or our Facebook, you will see those things. And if you don't, you should, so you can see those things.
And yeah, if you see us, please feel free to come up and greet us and make fun of my picks.
Thanks for watching, guys, and we'll see you around.
Bye.